Ciao, and welcome to Immersion Travel Italy, where we don't just visit Italy, we experience it. I'm Caterina Ferrara, travel author and festival enthusiast, bringing you insider tips, hidden gems, and unforgettable adventures across Italy. From grand religious processions to lively food sagas, I'll take you beyond the guidebooks to immerse yourself in Italy's richest and most historical traditions. Whether you're planning your next trip or dreaming of La Dolce Vita, join me as we explore the heart and soul of Italy, one festival at a time. Today we're going to talk about Sicily and 5 incredible experiences that will make your Sicilian vacation absolutely memorable. The first one that I want to recommend is try out a cheese baking course. I know it sounds crazy, but the Sicilians are very good at their caciocavallo, very good at their ricotta. And many of these farms that are also cheese manufacturers, they're called caseifici or un caseificio, they are opened for people to come visit. And it is a fantastic experience. I actually signed up thinking my husband would be super interested. He's very into experiences, and that's why I include these immersion experiences in my ultimate festival and travel guides. So we went in the morning, and the milk had already been processed through. They had milked the cows. The cows were out in the field, cows and sheep grazing. There were also pigs there. We got a little bit of a farm tour. And then we started the process of heating the milk and creating the caciocavallo and creating the ricotta with the assistance, obviously, of the owner and his assistant. And it was a very small operation. It was extremely interesting. And he taught us all about the process of making cheese. And we got to try some of that fresh ricotta directly out of the pot. When it was warm, he just put it in a bowl and gave us a spoon, and we had ricotta for breakfast. Absolutely delightful. And he also is so proud of his factory. He gave us a grand tour and also very proud of a brand new truck that he had purchased. This is the truck that you take to the market to sell your cheese. And he explained to us that he goes to a different city in the area. This is near Ragusa, where we were. He goes to a different city in the area every day with his food truck and sells the cheese freshly made out of the truck. Absolutely an incredible experience. We were near Ragusa. There are options for this. I list them in my book all over Sicily. So I highly recommend including this type of experience into your Sicily trip. Number 2, wine tasting. Many of you have probably been to Napa or Sonoma Valley in America and done wine tasting. There's the same opportunity at the foot of Etna, the same opportunity for Marsala wine in Marsala, and experiencing these wineries, these families who over the years have passed down generations of experiences of making wine, and hearing the pride in their voices really makes it a great opportunity for an experience. So I highly recommend that you include a wine tasting in your vacation. The vendemmia happens once a year. That's when they pick the grapes and make the wine. So if you happen to be there during that fall season, that might be a really cool thing to see as well. Number 3 on the list, there is a special train, a narrow gauge train. This is not a high-speed train, sort of retro, that goes around Mount Etna that was built in the 1800s. It's called the Circumetnea. And it really just goes all the way around Etna. I should be referring to my book. It's chapter 36 in my book. And it's a great opportunity to go and see some of these smaller towns without driving. The train just makes the stops. And it's got a stop out of Catania. So if you're in Catania, it's a little day trip for you. It goes to Adrano, Bronte, which is known for its pistachios and its pistachio festival, also covered in the travel guide. It goes to Lingua Glossa and also Rispetto, but many other cities are also attached on this rail. And so it's a great way to sort of experience the small towns, see the medieval architecture. Obviously, all of these towns were impacted at one time or another by a volcano. So just a really interesting day in the valley near Etna. So I highly recommend that. Also, a cooking class. We took a cooking class with Gilda Falia near Syracuse. I specifically wanted to learn how to make arancini while I was there. Most of your cooking classes are going to be pasta alla norma, maybe some of the Sicilian desserts. But in my case, I wanted to know how to make the arancini. How many times have I made arancini since I came home from my Sicilian trip? One, they're really hard to make and they take forever to make, honestly. So luckily for us, Gilda was prepared. We went over to her house. She had already made the ragu. That's the meat sauce. It's a really thick ragu because it's going into the arancino that's then getting deep fried. So she had prepared that the day before. Brilliant, because again, that's a step in the process. So she had prepared the ragu. She had also prepared the risotto, the rice. So that is another part of the preparation. So basically she had everything ready to go and a focaccia ready for us to prepare before we arrived, everything pre-prepared. So what we did when we got there is we went into her backyard. She has an outdoor kitchen, absolutely beautiful day in May. And she welcomed us to her home. Her husband and son were there going off to soccer practice. So just a beautiful experience. It was maybe 20 minutes outside of Syracuse. We took a taxi to get there, but it was in a neighborhood. So it's really fun to also get into real Sicily, where the Sicilians live in the little suburb there. And we sat down and she had everything prepared. So we started with the middle of the arancino is a mozzarella ball. So with our hands, we took the mozzarella ball and then we put the meat sauce around it. So you're dealing with that meat sauce, which again, if she cooked it the day before, it was cool. So you could handle it. You're not handling hot meat sauce. And then you take rice and we created balls. You can see two different kinds of arancini in Sicily. Obviously the balls are probably easier to prepare. So then you take all of that and you put it in the middle of a rice ball. And then you take the rice ball and you roll it in breadcrumbs. And then she had a pot outside full of oil on her stove to deep fry the arancini. And it takes a little bit of time to get them golden brown, to get them hot in the middle. And they were so delicious. And again, we met new people. We had a great experience. And for some reason, when you make these foods with your hands, learn this new thing, it is absolutely delicious. So I highly recommend adding in a cooking class. Now, how do you do that? GildaFalia@yahoo.com, or I use Cuisine, which is a website, and they have cooking classes all over the world. Again, that cooking class and all of Gilda's information is in chapter 31 of the book. Okay. And number 5 on our list of things to do, great experiences when you're in Sicily, is an olive oil tasting or being part of the olive oil harvest. Sicily is known for delightful olive oil, again, mostly around the foot of Etna. The soil there is extremely special, and so they grow olives there. If you're there in the fall, and you can be there at the time of olive harvest, you'll see they put nets on the ground everywhere, and they pick the olives a lot of times by hand or with a little rake. It almost looks like a kid's sand rake that you would use at the beach, and you just rake the olives right off of the branches, and you get to be a part of that. Also, they process the oil quasi immediately. They want to process those olives into oil either that day or the next day, so you'll also get to do a tasting. There are tours that do olive oil tasting and wine tasting at the foot of Etna. And number 6, and our final experience advice, not all of the immersion experiences from the book, but some of them, is to do a 4x4 tour of Mount Etna. Certainly Mount Etna is one of the major attractions when you're in Sicily. You can see it from almost everywhere on the East Coast. It's looming there, often smoking, sometimes exploding. And so there are tours that will take you up. We went on a 4x4 tour with a guide, and we got as close as we were comfortable with. Certainly we walked on lava, lots of lava stone, lots of lava flows from recent times up there. And sometimes, like I said, you'll see even eruptions during the days. And the Catania Airport and the Palermo Airport will be closed due to those eruptions at Etna. So those are some of the immersion experiences in my Sicily travel guide. I hope that you'll include these in your travels to Sicily, as they make a really nice addition to just visiting sites and sitting in the beautiful Baroque towns. So that is it for today's episode, and I will see you soon. Thanks.